Hello everyone, I am the Analyst 32, and this is MLS Week in Review. Welcome back to MLS Week in Review. It has been a while. Well, not really. It's been like 5 days. But it's good to be back. Had an amazing time over at the Timbers match. It's one hell of a game, to say the least. So I'm glad I could share that with you guys. And now let's go over what happened in the rest of the league. Let's go ahead and start out with the standings. Start out west. Colorado kind of stayed at the top. RSL made a jump up to third. They were sitting in sixth last time we looked at the standings. Vancouver stayed even, so that gave RSL a chance to jump above them. Also, Portland jumped over Seattle in the standings with their win over Vancouver, so that was fantastic. Overall in the West right now, I've seen that Colorado is really playing the best soccer. I know I've said that weeks and weeks in a row now, but they really have been playing the best soccer. They went up and stole a game up in Seattle this past week and continue to show that they have the best class in MLS right now. Moving on to the East, Philadelphia got themselves a win this week and have sat themselves up at the top of the standings. The likes of Montreal not actually being able to do anything in their loss against Orlando. Piatti had another goal for Montreal, with them conceding some points. Philadelphia sitting at the top of the standings. NYCFC have jumped up into second. The Red Bulls have jumped up into third after their whomping, holy cow, 7-0 over NYCFC. So they're up to 16 points. They've moved up 5 spots in the standings since last we looked. Also, Toronto sitting there. Montreal dropped 4 spots. Like I said, still sitting there in the playoff hunt. Orlando City moved up with getting their win over Montreal up into the top 6, and really not a lot else has changed. DC United and the New England Revolution have dropped down in the standings a little bit. So looking at the results this past week, starting on Wednesday and Friday, Toronto and NYCFC drew 1-1. The Red Bulls, for the first part of their 6 points they earned this past week, beat Chicago 1-0. On Friday, Philadelphia beat DC United 1-0 as well. A big win for Philadelphia Union, to say the least, pushing them up further in the standings. Going into Saturday and Sunday's scores, NYCFC, like I mentioned, got bullied and whooped up on at Yankee Stadium, 7-0. Chicago beat Houston 1-0. Toronto and Columbus drew 0-0. The New England Revolution, gosh dang it, that seems to be turning into a trend, me trying to call them the New York Revolution. Too many teams in New York already. They lost to FC Dallas 2-4 in a match where they thought they had the lead a couple of different times, and FC Dallas just came back and eventually just put that match away. Orlando beat Montreal 2-1. Great assist and goal from Kaká to Kyle Lauren. If you guys get a chance to check that out, definitely go onto the MLS page and watch the highlights. Fantastic play. Sporting Kansas City having some issues. Dom Dwyer gets a goal, but RSL puts up 3 on him at Sporting Kansas City, who are having some issues at home this year. So that's definitely a concern. Seattle lost at home. Speaking of concerning losses at home for teams, Seattle lost at home to Colorado 1-0. And Seattle's having their woes as much as Portland has, only Portland has things like injuries to blame. So looking at Sunday scores, Portland beat Vancouver 4-2. You guys can check out my video. I'll put a link in the description below. That was a fun game, to say the least. And man, talk about a rivalry. These guys really were just going at each other. Lots of pushing around and even almost a fight at the end with a straight red card in the 94th minute. But that was one hell of a game. Definitely check my coverage of that. And the LA Galaxy and the California Classico tie San Jose 1-1. Some stats from this week. Looks like the top goal scorers are staying the same right now, with Giovinco, Adi, David Villa not scoring and staying at 8. Also, Wondolowski didn't get a goal this past week in the MLS. Piatti moves up to tie with Wondolowski with his 7th goal of the season. Also, another incredible stat, which is kind of crazy with how well Valeri's actually been playing for the Timbers recently. Diego Valeri has made the most unsuccessful crosses in MLS with 85. That's really insane to think about. And also crazy to think that he's had 85 crosses this season. So let's get into the topics of this week. Pirlo, the Lord and Savior Pirlo, was quoted this past week that MLS has too much physicality and running and too little skill play. And this is one thing I'd like to comment on, to say the least. The MLS tactically has changed a lot over the past 5 years. You've seen a lot of teams go to the 4-4-2, and more recently, at least in the past year and a half since Portland has had some success with it, we've seen a lot of teams go to the 4-3-3, trying to change things up. But really, the speed of the MLS right now is on the world stage pretty high. There's just not a lot of skill players like there are in some other leagues, which for some is kind of, it's the reason why players like Giovinco and Pirlo, now that they've gone to the MLS, didn't get a call-up for their national team. And that's kind of a bummer, because Giovinco's been in form and scoring goals ever since he joined MLS. But at some point, the stigma has to end. And at some point, yes, the defenses in MLS are kind of weak, but this is something that has gotten better. And the quality of attacks in MLS are really up there, in my opinion. Just look at Vancouver. Even though they only had 2 goals against Portland this past week, Kuna Mane has been playing his balls off, to say the least. You know, him, Blas Perez, Morales, they've had a potent attack. They have a potent attack in Toronto with Giovinco and Josie Altidore. Yes, Altidore is currently injured. You know, Will Johnson has really helped in the attack with them as well. The likes of young stars like Kyle Lauren, Lucas Milano, and young stars around the league right now. I think the MLS is growing. Yes, there still needs to be a lot of improvement, but, we still have a ways to go before we get to the likes of the Premier League, Germany, with the Bundesliga, the Serie A in Italy, La Liga, obviously, even the likes of the Portuguese league and the likes of the French league at the moment. But we're getting a lot closer. We are getting a lot closer. And more younger players, the likes of Giovanni Dos Santos and the likes of Giovinco, have noticed that. And it's only going to get better, especially with the fact that more teams are investing in their youth academies. More teams like FC Dallas are really promoting their youth into their first team. It's only going to get better, and I think the skill level is going to get better as well. Going into rivalry week, fantastic. I mean, you saw the romp of the Red Bulls over NYCFC. That was fun to watch. Cascadia, once again, not disappointing. And of course, the California Classico playing well is, not playing well, but being a fantastic match of 2 teams that are relatively in form. It's fantastic to watch. And right now, the MLS is at its most entertaining point that I've seen in many years now. So it's only getting better, more fun to watch after every passing weekend. Now, something I have to mention, all my stats are thanks to WhoScored.com. They're awesome people. Let me use their stats as long as I mention them. And, they're nice people. So definitely go check them out. If you have any information you want to find out about the MLS or any soccer league around the world, they can help you out. This has been MLS Week in Review. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys. I'm in my car, but we do the video where we can do the video, right? If you guys want to check me out, I'm on Twitter at TheAnalyst32. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/TheAnalyst32. You can also like and subscribe to my channel, The Analyst 32, on YouTube. And definitely check out my last video where we covered the Vancouver Whitecaps coming down to Providence Park. Thank you guys all for watching, and I will see all of you on the other side of the pitch. Have a good one.